Our Computex 2025 coverage is made possible by Corsair, Asus, Phanteks, G-Skill, Lee, Seasonic, Thermal Grizzly, TRYX, Team Group, Antec, Pro Gamers Group, InWin, BitsPower, Be Quiet, Cable Mod, and Cougar.
Welcome back, guys. We're at Computex. It is day one still, and we're here at the TRYX booth. Now, we have quite a few products to take a look at. We all know TRYX recently launched that Panorama all-in-one cooler. That's one that had the curved screen. Everyone was going crazy about that. They got some other few iterations that just came out. They had the SC model. Now we have this interesting one here. I might move this, whatever this is. Some of you guys might know. Put that there. This is called their Stage. So this is how it will be installed in your chassis. There are some of these installed in cases, and I'll get some shots on that because it's always hard to see how this will look on a motherboard until you actually get it in there. So I'll get some shots of that so you can see. So basically it's called a stage. You have a platform here. The bottom is a mirror, but the two sides are a 1:1 ratio screen. I don't know what the resolution is. I think they said it's 1080 for this one, 1080 for this one, and they're both 4 inches. So it's a 4 inch by 4 inch screen on each side, and that's how it goes just in the middle. So they're just trying different ways to implement screens differently in a chassis. And of course, if we move over to this one's pretty sick. Like, personally, it's not really my taste. I'm not really into things like this, but a lot of people I see do put figurines in their cases. They put them on like the PSG covers, they hang them wherever. This is just taking that, I would say, to the next level or to the next stage by putting little figurines on the top there. When it comes to these figurines, I'm pretty sure that include these. That's up to the user to go crazy, but you can put anything you want on those. In terms of the all-in-one cooler, it's probably the same as like their other gear they have. It's the latest Acertec pump that's built in there, so you all know that's one of the best ones around for all-in-one coolers. So it's running that, and then it's running their rotor RGB fans, and they also do have some new RGB fans as well that we'll have a look at. But yeah, that's pretty much it on these all-in-one coolers. Just something a little bit different. I want to know your thoughts on that, just the implementation, and if you would dig this idea and actually put stuff on this sort of horizontal platform. Now, moving over to here now, I don't think I've maybe ever done an air-cooled build, maybe a very long time ago, but I did want to take a look at these. These are called the Tourist, kind of like Tourist, but without the ST. So Tourist, we have a white and the black. So these are air coolers. They're not all-in-one coolers. There's no phase change, anything fancy like that. Just stock standard air coolers. Now, these are chunky. These are about 165 in height from the CPU. I'll get some shots inside a case. They are really close to the side panel, so when these come out, you will have to pay close attention to the specs to make sure you can get your side panel closed. Definitely in smaller cases, they may struggle, but you'll just have to make sure of that. The screen here, I believe, is a 5 inch, it might be 5 point something. Oh, it says 5 inch right there. I was about to say, they don't really give you much information on the spec cards, but it says it right there, 5 inch. They don't give you the resolution. I wish they did have a little bit more information, but it is 6 heat pipes. I'll get some close up, 6 on one side, 6 on the other. And I like the aesthetic how it runs for the white one. It's white all the way from the top, all the way down to the heat pipes. It's all white, and same on the black. It's a nice matte black, and then it runs all the way down to the bottom for the black. And there's 2 fans as well, one in the middle. They're both 120. Now you might be wondering, hey, this is pretty big. This is going to hit my memory. This fan can slide off. I'll start to slide it here, but I won't take it off because I only have one hand. This one will slide off, and you do have the center one in there. So the performance with both fans is about 260, 280 watts. I don't know what it is with a single, but pretty high performance with both fans. So if you are going to run both of these fans, you're going to have to run some pretty low profile memory to get that clearance. So price for the new all-in-one cooler and then for the air cooler, you're looking at $199 US, which is definitely a step down in price compared to their other all-in-one cooler. So it's pretty good to see that more affordable price for that. And then for the air cooler, you're looking at $99 US for that. So that's pretty sweet. You're getting all of that size, you're getting the screen, and that'll, both of these will both work with their Canali software. That's to do all the RGB lighting and control all the screens as well. Over here we have some new fans, and we have a really interesting product over here. Now, everyone loved the curved screen on their all-in-one cooler. I really like the screen, but for me, I don't really do any all-in-one cooled builds. I don't use AIOs. I really like my custom water cooling. So what TRYX have done is they've now brought out, once again, I'll get some close-ups on this because there's no point going in and out on this shot. They now have their all-in-one panorama, which was the AIO, in a custom water block. There is no pump, so the pump's been removed, and then we have an in and out. So pretty much all the same specs as what it was before, but you're ditching the fans, you're ditching the radiator, and you just purchase this in either the black or the white, and then you have the water block there. So you can see the system there, just the unit on its own. You still have the cable that goes off to the USB, so that'll run into their software, the Canali software. Exactly the same implementation. You can throw system stats, media, anything you want, wallpapers, different backgrounds, but then you have the functionality of adding it into the rest of the loop. Now moving over up here, if we can get a shot on this, it's a little bit high. These are their Lucis fans, L-U-C-I-S, it's Lucis. These are a very early prototype. They're not quite happy with a few things. They do want to change some of the RGB on them. I do think the RGB around the sides is a little bit too fat, a little bit too wide. I would like it a little bit more skinny. They said the performance is really good. The performance is there, but they just don't like the aesthetics at the moment. So these are daisy chainable. There is a strip, and it might be hard to see from here. There is a strip that runs down the side, and I believe that's how they connect. It's kind of like a backbone. So you plug in your connector here, and then you connect each fan to the side. Now, the reasoning for that is, you probably all know, there are certain patents on daisy chainable fans, and I think it's good that TRYX are not trying to step on anyone's toes. They've gone with a different route on their daisy chainable fans, not to breach any patents, so that's why they've gone with that backplane design for these fans. This over here is the ARCVISION, and this one specifically is the ARCVISION OLED. As you can see, what TRYX has done is they've implemented their panorama all-in-one cooler into the corner of the chassis. Now this isn't a touchscreen, it's the same as how it was in the all-in-one cooler, and this is it down here. Same specs, same dimensions, same everything. You can control it with their Canali software, because they had a lot of feedback that a lot of users don't really want to be looking inside the case, but it might be easier to have it on the edge corner, and that's just a neat little item on this case. Now, this is a whole new case. It's not an old chassis they've thrown this on, so we can talk about some other areas on this case. So I'm going to attempt to slide this actual panel off with one hand, just so we don't get any glare. Get that out of the way. So this is the chassis here. Let's see if they've got some specs on here that I can read. We have 140 at the top for 2, but it will mainly do a 360, so it's not a huge case. They're not coming out with something super high end, because they already have the Luca for that. This is more a mid-tower for your ATX boards. There's no front radiator support, it's all on the side, 360 on the side, 360 on the top. The top will do the 140s for 2, and it looks like it does a 360 on the rear. But if you don't want the OLED version, they have these customizable panels. Now, they told me that this is actually real wood. So this chassis comes in both either white or black. So obviously on the white model, the wood is a different type of material. And I believe this one is black oak for this one, which is a kind of nice color. They could have gone with anything like brown, but I do like how it is black, because then it just ties in nicely. I'll see if we can actually take this off for some footage. It ties in nicely, because I think if they would have made it brown, it may have looked like some other brands or cases out on the market, but I don't think many have done that black type of material. And then there's a different one over here, which I don't know what you call this, some marble type of aesthetic, but they're still playing around with different finishes to see which ones work best. But I do think the ones on the white chassis do look a little bit better. But yeah, once again, curved glass at the front, PSG goes down the bottom, and then you have that OLED screen in the middle. For prices on these, I don't have anything yet, but let me know your thoughts on having the screen more on the front edge of your case, or if you just prefer it being inside like on the all-in-one cooler. Lastly, in this area, I just wanted to quickly get these riser cables. Now, these are Gen 5. I know not many companies are doing that, so it's always good to get those out there. Not much to talk about these. Gen 5, that's it. They come in 20 centimeters for the short ones. Obviously, if you're doing a short build, a vertical GPU that's right near the motherboard, you're going to want something short. You don't want to be bunching up a heap of this behind. And of course, they have the 30 centimeter for if your GPU is a little bit further away. Interesting concept over here that TRYX are doing. They've got a new case over here called the FLOVA, F-L-O-V-A, I think that's pronounced right. So it's got fans in the front. That one's on. It might be best to see this one. It's got fans in the front, but it also has a built-in CROSSFLOW fan. I'll get some shots of that. So this is the fan here. So you might be wondering, why do we need a CROSSFLOW fan when we have fans in the front? So basically how this fan works it goes like this, goes in this way, and then it shoots air inside the case on a right angle. So it shoots it, well, it sucks it in this way, and then it shoots it out that way, directly over all of your components. So you might be running, well, can't we just use normal fans in the front? Well, they wanted to go with a mesh aesthetic design on a chassis, so mesh on the front, mesh on the side, which looks nice down the bottom, but that is very, very restrictive. So they could have gone with a new type of material to make it more breathable, but then that would lose that nice premium aesthetic, because I can pull this off. This feels really nice and premium, nice quality, but it's very restrictive. So what they've done is they've still added the fans if you've got RGB, because you can still see through it, but they've got this CROSSFLOW fan inside it. So performance on this, they don't have too much, but they said it's about in between a 120 and a 140. So this CROSSFLOW is about the equivalent of a sort of a 360 bank of fans, but it's in between a 360 and a 420. That might sound a bit confusing, but the performance of this is pretty good. Smack bang between a 360 and a 420 when you're talking in terms of banks of fans. So that'll come built in like that. You have the white version as well. Of course, it's white. And then we have a very light pink model over here, and it's built in as well. So I want to know your thoughts on that. Like, there's no RGB built into it. It's just a CROSSFLOW where the fan spins on a cylinder shaft in the middle, and that's how it generates the airflow. And you can still keep your fans in the middle of the case. I don't want to talk about too much inside the chassis. I just want to focus on the outside aesthetics of this and see what your thoughts on having a different type of fan. My only thoughts are things like user replacement, failures. Normally, if you have a case full of fans, one fan might fail, and you can either, obviously, if you don't want to do the warranty, it might be an old fan, you can just swap that for something else or swap it with the same fan. You may have spares, but if something like this fails, you really have to either reach out to the manufacturer, or if this fails, you just can't use it. So that's my only concern with that. It's not really a generic usable part like most case fans are. And another thing you can do, you can actually remove this mesh completely. So if you don't want to go with this whole actual design with the mesh, you can remove that, and then it just turns into a normal mesh panel for the chassis. So that is it on our TRYX coverage at Computex 2025. We looked at those new all-in-one coolers, those air coolers, a couple of cases, and I'm really interested to see what that new panorama water block is going to look like in a custom build. But anyway, I want to thank you guys for watching, and I want to thank TRYX for supporting my Computex coverage, and we'll see you in the next one.